You've turned on Sexy Marriage Radio, where the best sex happens in the marriage bed. Here's your host, Dr. Corey Allen.
Welcome back to another episode of Sexy Marriage Radio, where we are having straightforward, honest, no candy coating conversations about married life and sex and love and all that entails, where we want to hear from you, the Sexy Marriage Nation. Those of you that are new to the Sexy Marriage Nation, welcome. Glad you found us. Those of you that have been hanging around for a while, I'm glad you keep coming back.
Welcome again.
And as always on Mondays, I'm joined by my wife, Pam.
Hey, everybody.
So what we want is from you we want to hear from you at 214-702-9565 is our voicemail line. Leave us a voicemail, leave us a message. We'll use it on the air, if possibly, if it helps frame the conversation or go someplace that we need to discuss. We also will have an inbox at feedback@sexymarriageradio.com where we get tons and tons of feedback and questions and thoughts and praise and criticisms and
good, bad, and the ugly.
Love hearing from the nation because it does help us make this show all it can be. And then I also ask a personal plea to jump on iTunes, rate and review the show, help us climb the charts. We're up over 500 reviews now, which is fantastic.
That's great.
And this whole thing is possible because of the Sexy Marriage Nation. And I got to say thank you to you guys to keep showing up and keep being a part of the Academy. Come to the getaways, which is right around the corner.
Right around the corner. So excited for that.
That's going to be a great, great time. 4 days
in
the Marriott Solana, just north of DFW. So I have to take just a quick moment during today's episode to say thank you and a shout out to my wife as we had just celebrated 25 years of married life. Well done, baby.
It's been a fabulous 23 years.
I was going to say most of them have been pretty good.
Yeah, about 2 in there. Maybe kind of sucked.
I'm kind of glad you're just at 2. I might throw 3 or 4 into the mix. But 25 is a big deal. May 29th was when we celebrated 25 years. And I have to say, watching the journey unfold of you and your life and then our life and then us as a family has just been a fantastic ride.
Well, it goes both ways. Seeing the metamorphosis.
There you go.
Of you and the leadership role in this family and just you and your career and what you do and the impact that has on others, and love seeing how the kids respond to that every morning, every day when Corey leaves to go to a session or counsel with someone.
Yep.
Our daughter says, counsel well, marriages are at stake, Dad.
Marriages are on the line, Dad. Yeah. So, love that girl. Yeah, so this is just fun. We wanted to just do a show that just kind of we're using this platform for our personal use at this moment. I'm not going to apologize for that, but I also want to talk about how our journey has helped frame what this has become,
right? And
then what Sexy Marriage Radio has done for our journey.
Yeah, they just kind of go hand in hand.
Those are great
feed off each
synergy.
other.
Absolutely, because I sent out, May is one of those birthday months in the Allen household.
Yeah,
that
birthdays and anniversaries.
Mine, and then our daughter, and then our anniversary. And so I sent out a letter around my birthday, just kind of to all the listeners or readers of Simple Marriage, and just said, hey, thanks for being a part of life with me. Thanks for hanging out. And I think part of the reason why you hang out is I've kind of pawn myself off or promote myself as I'm a dude that's a professional, but I struggle and I'm real. And that's some of the feedback I hear from people that come work with me or that join a mastermind group or listen to Sexy Marriage Radio, is because these people are real. And that's what we try to do behind the microphone and now the camera on YouTube, is just, we try to just be real. And
Well, and I think that's just the reality that's there. Anyone who gets to a point where they've lived life, they've lived through the mud, and they're willing to say, I'm human, I screwed up, but here's how it made me better.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to someone who just maybe wants to portray that they've always been in that better state.
Right.
Well, you know what?
Right. Which
none of us have always just been in that better state.
Right. Which I can guarantee that we would not be sitting here behind a microphone on a camera doing episode 350 or whatever this one's going to end up being, if we had not gone through sitting at the food court at Town East Mall in Mesquite, Texas, with the true you trying to give the ring back and saying, if some things don't change, we're done. We're not going to make it 5 years in. And me saying, not yet. I'm not going to take it. And that kind of launched me on this journey of who am I as a man? And then that launched us on a journey as who are we as people and as a couple, which then led into the way I counsel and led into what I've started writing, and then has led into this.
Yeah.
And so it is one of those things that you talk about when you say 23 of those years have been good, really good. But those two were pivotal.
Absolutely formational. I think, when we all go through these journeys in life or the hard times in life, it's hard to go through those, and you don't wish them on anybody.
Right.
But I do wish that when people go through those things, my prayer for folks is to have that perspective to look for the victories and the valleys of life.
Right.
And that try and take the nuggets that you can from it.
That's where, if you have a bent towards scripture, that's where James, in the book of James, he's talking about consider it joy in struggles.
Yeah.
Because you're learning, or you have the opportunity to learn during the struggle. And what I want Sexy Marriage Radio to be is to be a resource that helps people frame their struggle.
Right.
Because I think that's what this whole thing is about. So I want to do a quick history lesson of Sexy Marriage Radio, just because for those of you that are part of Sexy Marriage Nation and maybe don't know this, we've been doing this for 6.5 years or over that now.
Yeah.
And we're coming up on our 4th getaway for the Sexy Marriage Radio getaway.
Yeah.
Plans are already in the works for the 5th next summer, which these could be huge. Still formulating exactly what they're going to be, and they scare me, but that means we're probably on the right path, because that's the way most of what I've done has been lately. It's what scares me.
Yeah.
It's what I probably need to do. But so I started Simple Marriage, which was just a blog I was writing towards married life and trying to help couples before there were problems, because one of the things I kept finding was that research would show couples would wait 6 years before seeking help. And that was 6 years of the problem being in existence before they would finally say, you know what, let's go get some help. And so I kept seeing this trend of people coming in my office of like, they were just looking for reasons to get out, or they were already done and they just didn't have the honesty to say it.
Right.
So it's like, there's got to be a better way. So I just started writing, and Simple Marriage kind of grew and became a pretty good blog and pretty big as far as the readers numbers. And I had a lot of help in networking and just kind of learning everything. Mm-hmm. But the one thing I noticed was that anytime I wrote on sex, those were really popular topics, obviously.
Yeah.
Because there's not a lot of really good information out there sometimes. So that then led to, there needs to be a voice out there speaking into helping married people specifically with their sex life.
Yeah. The healthy voice.
Right. And not anything goes, not a taboo, not okay, if that's not working, you're not happy, get out, go find somebody else. They'll obviously make you happy, which is the biggest farce out there most of the time.
Yeah.
So I found Gina Paris, and she was one of the few women bloggers that were willing to talk about sex openly. So she and I did 2 years of shows. She needed to transition to do some other things. She met Shannon Etheridge. She was my co-host for 4.5 years. And then now you were my co-host
right.
for Monday shows.
Right. Shannon helped get a lot of things off the ground too.
Absolutely.
So
Both the other two women were
Yep.
pivotal in this whole
The getaways started with Shannon. The academy started when the two of you were doing that.
So there's a lot of thanks that are due to both Gina and to Shannon.
Absolutely.
For us sitting here today still. But it's also recognizing that just by having the conversations and watching this grow and the feedback we would get at feedback@sexymarriageradio.com, which I would go through the archives and figure out how many times I've said that. I have no idea, but million maybe, because it's a lot of times it's said every show. But all the stuff I would get was like we were changing people's lives in some regards by the concept we would teach, or the way we were willing to talk about something, and that would get other people then talking about it, which then would change a dynamic in their marriage. And now all of a sudden it was dead and it's alive again.
Right.
And that I love, and that's my mission even more now with 3.0 is how do we make this even bigger and reach more people and be more impactful, get more people into the academy to get real hands-on monthly contact with me on the Q&A call, behind the scenes of the videos of our shows, of every single show, the community, the chance to have a conversation with and ask the real questions that are on your mind. You don't know who else to turn to.
Yeah.
But so that's the journey of our little community that's now the nation. It's kind of where I'm going with this. But what I'm interested in is if you were to look at just kind of the takeaways, I've got a couple, but the takeaways we've had thus far, and I guess it would fit with marriage and the work we do, because you're a part of this now. It's not just me and you're the accountant.
Right.
So getting you on the mic, you've always been pivotal because you've been one of the strongest people I've met and know to be willing to have me talk about this in an open way, because that sometimes is not going to put us in a good light.
Well, but knowing the journey that we've been on, the whole 25 years, right? And how our marriage is transformed, and a lot of that has originated from you. Really, I think a lot of it, well, it started there at year 5 with those issues, but a lot of those humps weren't overcome specifically in the sexual aspect until later, like when you were in the master's and the doctoral programs, and a lot of our conversations became more open at that point. And so we, through some of the conversations you started initiating, and then I got more comfortable reciprocating the conversations. That's just made things more vibrant. And I think that both of us have seen the results in that, in not only in our lives, but in how we communicate with our kids and hopefully the future for them, because of how we talk in our relationship, of how we talk in our household. But I just think of small group at church and the way that, that kind of stuff, there's no topic off limits that we're ready to, hey, how are you guys doing? What's going on in your life, and how can we be there for you? And seeing the impact of the emails that come in for you, and just when you first started this and when you first started counseling, your passion was, I want to take those people that are just in an okay spot,
right,
and help them get to great.
Right. The good to great.
Right. That good to great. You've read that book out. Lots of people have read that book.
Yep.
And there's so many people that are totally in the dumps, but people don't ask for help until they're in the dumps.
Right.
And this is a good avenue for even just those people who aren't in the dumps to make it go to great, because they'll listen to this, and it's not just going to a counselor because they're about to get divorced.
Right.
It's, hey, here's a tool that we can go from good to great with, because it's not just the sexual aspect. It's how can we just open up about everything in our relationship.
And the thing that I got to credit Schnarch
Absolutely.
for
He's
starting our
been pivotal.
conversations,
Yeah.
because that's when when I read Passionate Marriage and Constructing the Sexual Crucible and the different things I had to with school, that's just what clicked. It's like, okay, this makes sense.
Yeah.
And it gave me a framework to then layer the Christian lens we live with and believe. And that's what started challenging me to hold on. This is my journey taking place within our relationship.
Yeah.
Whereas I would often think before that, how do I just get you to do what I want you to do?
Sure.
Right? How do I crack the code, solve the
Well,
key?
I was the same way. It
Yep.
was, God, he's got to grow up.
Yep.
How can I get this guy to grow up?
Yep. And so that's what I think has been the coolest about Sexy Marriage Radio. And the message is when we get all of those emails that come in through the history of the show that say, I came here looking for how do I solve this problem with my spouse, and discovered I'm creating my own problem. I've got to solve me.
Right.
And so it wasn't the message I was necessarily wanting, but it's the message I need.
Right.
And that's the framework that allows, even when we're setting this up and I'm frustrated and you make a comment and it's like, God, how can you say that? But it's like, okay, I get it, but it's just,
that was just 45 minutes ago, folks. I really hacked him off.
It could have turned into World War III, but it was one of those like, okay, that's not right. I don't like hearing that, but okay. How do we grow up and keep going,
Right.
Because it's still that whole, all right, so that didn't go the way I hoped. All right, well,
let's move on.
What's next? And so it's just kind of recognizing how does that translates in the bedroom. It's like, well, that didn't go the way I wanted. Well, do I get up and leave? Do I cause a big scene? Do I blame? Or I realize, no, hold on. How do I maintain a presence? How do I stay solid? How do I grow into this? How do I be compassionate? How do I care? How do I show love?
Yeah.
That if I'm trying to manipulate my partner, it's none of that. It's not love. It's manipulation.
Yeah.
And so the thing that I love about this message and how it applies so widely to the issues that we have that come in is it's us. It's how do I view this? And you were quick to say this in our journey over the last 10, 15 years, probably since we've been parents, for sure, of what's this revealing in me?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's a great question to ask, because it's one of those, if I'll take that pause and go, what could this be revealing in me? What could be the struggle I'm facing here? That's worth understanding, rather than, I can't believe you talked to me that. I can't believe you won't do that. I can't believe, because then if we get in the blame game, we wind up further away from where we're wanting to be.
I think that's been one of the more critical things to really learn and understand in this whole thing. I can think of two separate times where there's been something going on that maybe early on in marriage I would have been just hacked at you, and I couldn't be. All I could do is sit and think, wow, what did I do to create that?
Right.
Huh.
Right.
I need to look at myself. What am I allowing Corey to do that would make this come out? So you know what? I got to take control of what I'm doing here.
Tell me if you see that dynamic the way I do, because when you do that in real time in our life, that is the sexiest moments of life. It's not necessarily an arousing turn on. It's just, okay, she's growing up. She's handling herself. That's a confidence growth movement into life better, which is sexy.
Well, from my perspective, it's a confidence thing. So it feels good inside because I'm confident in how I'm looking at the situation.
Yeah.
And it feels better because I'm not trying to blame. And if there's a piece that needs some blame, well, that's going to come out because I'm thinking through it rationally. I'm not just getting mad about it, right?
Not just reacting.
Not that the blaming is going to do any good, but
but it's still,
given the situation,
there's still elements of time when you're growing through life, because we've had this on the show, we've had this in our marriage for sure, where, look, I'm owning my side of this, but there's still some things we've got to address between us.
Certainly.
Because, what you did that impacts me in a bad way. And I'm not going to stand for that. That's not something I'm interested in, whatever it is, that it's just kind of I can still label it, but there's a way to be honest, to be blunt even, but not be totally attacking and accusatory. That's going to create the defensive overreaction, which then overreaction to that overreaction, and you're off to the races. Right. So, because it's the whole thing of, we don't always get this right. We still have times of, I'm going to go get a glass of water, or I got to go pick up the kids. We may go pick up some things before I come home. I'm not coming back for a little bit. And that's okay. Because that's real life. It's not that we get this all smooth. It's just, do we recover well? Because this is one of the things, and I want to kind of wrap it up with this. This is one of the things that I'm interested. I use this with my clients a lot, where 4 or 5 years ago, I bought a 1978 Jeep.
Yeah.
Right. And we went, after only having it for a year or so, we came back from a vacation and we went to go swimming with the kids. We loaded them up and we thought, we're not taking phones. We're just going to go, because the gym we were a part of that had the pool was, 5 minutes, 10 minutes from here. Simple. Right. So we get there and the pool's closed because the kid had an accident. And so they had to close the pool. So that meant we had to go to the further one, which is another 15, 20 minutes away, which I've always had the belief with a 1978 Jeep, you don't go too far from home.
You don't.
Because you just don't, I don't know if I'm going to make it back sometimes.
Not one that sputters all the time.
It doesn't sputter all the time, but none of the gauges work except the speedometer and the odometer. So I don't know how I'm doing with gas other than miles. And so there's a lot of things I got to kind of keep in my head.
It's an adventure, folks.
It is an adventure. And so we pull in to this gym. And as we're pulling into the parking lot, you hear, psh, had a flat tire happening. So we get there and we look at each other, and my wife goes, what are we going to do? And I'm like, I'll change it. And you take the kids in, but I don't have a jack. And her reaction immediately was, you don't have a jack? Seriously? What? And it was just kind of, are you kidding? And I'm like, I don't. And so I'm like, you take the kids in and I'll find someone in the parking lot that's got it. And so I get the jack, and then I don't have the key. The key I have for the spare tire lock doesn't work. And so it's like,
I don't have a jack or a key to get the spare tire.
I had the key, just the thing didn't work. So it's like, all right. So then we look at each other and go, we don't have our phones. We don't know anybody's phone number.
Who knows phone numbers anymore?
Except for
They're
each
all
other's.
in your phone.
So long story short, we end up finding a friend that's a member of our life group. She came, picked us up. I went back later with the truck, picked up the Jeep, brought it home. But the thing I tell clients all the time is there were ample opportunities through that whole ordeal and adventure that blame could have been cast on my shoulders for driving my family around without the proper necessary recovery equipment available to us. Right? But instead, the difference was, and you kind of led the charge in this, was we kept it on the focus of the situation, not personal attacks of how could you do this? I can't believe, because that's where it could have easily spun to. And instead, it felt like we were trapped in a third world country in Plano, which is 20 minutes from our
Texas.
house. Right. But it's like, we can't contact anybody.
Nobody has phone books.
We can't
anymore.
get home. What are we going to do? We're going to die. No, we're not.
Well,
we're just going to make an adventure out of it. But it was just that whole concept of, there are times when in life I can easily attack my partner.
Yeah.
Or I can keep it on the situation. And then hopefully those are things that you recover well. You use each other's strengths. You use each other's abilities. And then they become strengthening things and edifying things that are foundational to your relationship. But they also can become humorous moments of your relationship.
They can.
That you can poke fun at each other occasionally.
Let you
way
know
after the fact.
Yeah, let you know if you could do the Amazing Race together or not.
We would totally kill it at the Amazing Race. Or kill each other at the Amazing Race.
I think it'd be all right.
But it is one of those things that it's just, I tell my clients that because I think it's one of those things that the Sexy Marriage Nation needs to hear. There's a lot of things that happen in life that are just circumstantial. They're not intentional.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was in the wrong for not having a jack. But so what? Is it that big a deal? In that one, no, it's not. I mean, on some regards, yeah, that could be that big a deal. You probably should have had whatever was necessary for that. But it's still just recognizing, okay, I can get mad at my partner or I can get mad at the situation. If I get mad at the situation, now all of a sudden we got a chance to be allies about that situation more likely, rather than be defensive about it with each other.
Going back to that teammate idea, right? We're on
Absolutely.
the same team here, so let's figure out how to make it work.
Absolutely. Well, baby, I have to say 25 years in the State of the Union that we have regularly each anniversary. This has been quite the journey. I look forward to way more than 25 more.
Oh, I'm so excited for it.
So
I love doing it with you.
Absolutely. Life is so much more fun with this adventure together. And this show is so much more fun with you joining me, because it's kind of a different world that we are exploring together.
It is. It's been a lot of fun. I'm really glad. I'm glad that this is what we decided to do.
I am
Love
too.
it.
I had something I was going to say there, but I'm not going to say it. This has been Sexy Marriage Radio.
Okay,
I want to say thank you to the Sexy Marriage Nation for being a part of the 6.5 years. Whether you're new, whether you've been a part of all of it, whether you're a binge listener, love the binge listeners, whether you're this is the first one you've ever heard, welcome to the nation. And I hope that you find things that truly do impact your life and your marriage and make it from good to great. Because they definitely
great to fantastic.
Absolutely.
One of the two.
Well, if we left something undone or you got more questions or a topic you want to hear, feedback at sexymarriageradio.com. 214-702-9565. We'll see you next time.